Hey guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to Femhead. Today I thought it'd be fun to share where Theo is currently at with his routine schedule. I don't know, I think I've talked about it before in like his update videos, but I thought it would be interesting to just share his routine schedule because he's almost 11 months. He'll be just a few days shy. He'll be basically 11 months when this video goes up. My understanding of baby schedules, while they're all very different and even different for that individual baby day to day, a baby that is newborn, a baby that is 4 months old, a baby that is a year old, they have different needs when it comes to how often they sleep, how long they sleep. I'm gonna include times in this schedule routine, but they're obviously approximate. He doesn't get up at the same exact time every day. He doesn't go down for his first nap at the same exact time. It's based off of how he's feeling that day, how hungry he is that day, just keeping an eye on your baby and when he wants to go down and stuff. So like I said, he has a bottle every 2 to 3 hours. It depends on his mood, when he wakes up, how hungry that he is that day. Like some days he just eats and eats and eats, and some days he just really doesn't have much of an appetite. So I don't force anything on him or limit him. I never limit him on like milk or food. I just always give him as much as he wants because he's a little guy and he needs all the calories and nutrition and stuff he can get. He takes 2 naps a day and I try to keep them to a max of 2-hour naps. If he skips his morning nap or it's really short, I will just let him sleep however long he wants, but I don't know if he's ever slept longer than like 2.5 hours for a nap. It's usually much closer to like an hour 15, an hour 30, like sometimes closer to 2 hours. So it's not the same length of nap, but I do try to limit his naps to maximum amount of time throughout the day so it doesn't mess up his nighttime sleep, because you want them sleeping at night and awake during the day. Theo usually wakes up around 7 a.m. in the morning. And like I said, these times are approximate. Sometimes it's 6:50, sometimes it's 6:20, sometimes it's 7:30, sometimes it's 8 a.m. I usually just kind of let him wake himself up. Usually he doesn't sleep past 8. At a certain point I'll wake him up if it's 8:30, but usually it's between 6:30 and 7:30 is when he wakes up. And right away, we give him a 5-ounce bottle. One of us will wake up with him when he starts fussing, or if we're already awake, we'll go and get him. We'll make him his 5-ounce bottle. And then about an hour later, or half an hour later, whenever, we usually share breakfast. So I'll have either oatmeal or a bagel with hummus and some vegan sausage patties. He loves real food, I guess. He doesn't always eat a huge amount, but if you ever have food, he has to have some. And I always just give him food because I want him to try a variety of different foods, and if he wants to eat it obviously means that he's hungry. So I never limit him on food. I would say usually around 9:30. I find that his second bottle is usually around the 2-hour mark from when he wakes up and has his first bottle. Like he's usually hungry sooner, 9:30, that he will have that second bottle. And all of his bottles during the day are 4-ounce bottles. His first bottle when he wakes up and his bedtime bottle are 5-ounce bottles, because I find that's the only time he really eats 5 ounces. And so instead of wasting milk, I'll just make 4 ounces. And if he's super hungry one day, I'll make him 2 more ounces. And then his morning nap is 3 hours after he wakes up for the day. So if he wakes up at 7, I'll usually try to put him down around 10 a.m. And like I said, his naps are never the same. Sometimes they're half an hour, sometimes they're 2 hours, but I would say they usually are around like an hour 15, an hour 30. So that's his nap time. And then depending on when he wakes up, sometimes if he only takes like an hour nap, when he wakes up, he won't be ready for that second bottle. But usually if it's like closer to the 2-hour mark, I will offer him another 4-ounce bottle when he wakes up, or just 2.5, 3 hours from his last one. He usually has his third bottle around noon. Sometime after that, we'll share lunch together. I find it's easiest for me to just give him what I'm eating, unless it's like a snack and I give him like a fig bar or a pouch or something. But it's easier for me to just give him a portion of whatever I'm eating. And so I'll usually I'll make myself a bagel with hummus and vegan sausage and just give him, you know, a couple pieces of the vegan sausage and a couple pieces of the bagel and let him eat however much he wants, and then I eat the rest, or we eat at the same time. And the same goes with, you know, any of my meals. Obviously there's certain things that he can't eat yet because they're too hard or what have you. Sometimes we'll tweak whatever we're eating to fit for him. I don't give him super spicy foods, obviously. But he does like things like curries. So anyways, after his bottle, sometime between noon and 1, we'll share lunch together. And I do try to give him 3 real meals a day, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then around 2 p.m. we'll give him his next bottle before his nap, his afternoon nap, his second nap of the day. And then I would say sometime between 2 and 3, it's closer to 3, we'll say, he takes his second nap, and this is 3 hours after he wakes up from his first nap. But I find that he can go a shorter awake period from his second nap to his bedtime and still have no problem sleeping through the night. So for this second nap, I will either let him sleep a max of 2 hours. Like I said, he rarely makes it to that 2-hour mark, or until 5 p.m. I won't let him sleep past 5 p.m. because I don't want him to mess up his bedtime or his nighttime sleep. So sometimes if his naps get off for the day, it's 4:30 and he's not going down for his second nap, and I'm okay buddy, you're not gonna get a second nap because I would have to wake up in half an hour anyways. As he gets older, he can go longer periods of being awake, but he definitely does get cranky that last hour before bedtime. And then around 4:30 or 5, he has his last 4-ounce bottle for the day. And then I would say between 5:30 and 6:30, we all have dinner together. And then around 6:45 to 7 is when we start his bedtime routine. And it's the same every single day. We'll make his 5-ounce bottle of milk. We'll come upstairs, we'll put a fresh diaper on him, we'll put his jammies on him, and now that it's warmer out, his jammies are a long sleeve onesie under his sleeveless sleeper, sleeping bag. His bedroom is the hottest in the summer and the coldest in the winter. Michael will feed him his milk and we'll all lay in our bed together, and I'll read bedtime stories, and that's just how it's worked out. I know if you have troubles with your baby liking their room and their crib and sleeping in there, if you have an issue, as soon as you go into their room, they just start losing it because they know what that means and they have to go to sleep in there and they don't like that. I've heard you want to do their bedtime routine in their room. Once he was sleep trained, he's not had any issues napping or sleeping in his room. Yeah, he'll get ticked off, but it's never I hate my room, I don't want to go in there. He plays in there, he naps in there, he sleeps in there, it's fine. And honestly, it's just easier and more comfortable for us to do bedtime routine laying in our bed than sitting on the floor or sitting in his chair. So we just do it in here, we all snuggle, and it's a lot of fun. And then usually I'll leave Michael to finish feeding him his bottle, and Michael will go put him in his bed sometime between 7:15 and 7:30 approximately. Sometimes it's 7:45. He will go to sleep in there, and he sleeps usually 12 hours throughout the night. So a note about naps and falling asleep, even though he is sleep trained, he doesn't always go down without a fight or a fuss. He has a little blankie in there, and so he'll play with this little blankie, or he'll just roll and crawl around. Sometimes he'll cry, but he's gotten really good at putting himself to sleep. Sometimes naps, he'll go through tricky phases with naps and skip them or just fight them. For the most part, he's pretty good, but he doesn't go down silently most of the time. He fusses a little, and it's not full out crying and screaming. It's just I'm tired, I'm fussy, I'm falling asleep, but I'm vocalizing it. So I think that's one thing that I've learned about them sleeping, is even when they are sleep trained, it's not always a seamless silent affair, and that doesn't mean that there's something wrong. That's just how he falls asleep. He vocalizes himself falling asleep. But I do think it is so important for your baby to be able to put themselves to sleep. Everyone's different, do whatever feels comfortable to you, but it's so nice to know that 98% of the time when I put him in his crib, he can be sleepy but awake, and to know that he can put himself to sleep is such a relief to me. Not because it's easier, it is easier, but there's not the same amount of anxiety as when he couldn't put himself to sleep, because it would be oh my gosh, is he gonna go to sleep? How many times am I going to have to go back in there? Am I going to end up waking him back up and making him more mad by going in there? And it was just really gave me a lot of anxiety. So to know 98-99% of the time when he's put in his room, he's gonna be asleep and fine, is just such a relief. Obviously, there are special occasions where he'll wake up if he's like sick or teething or something's wrong, and we'll go in there and like rock him. Like if he's really struggling, he won't fuss past like 10-20 minutes. Sometimes if he's like really struggling, we'll go back in there and just like rock him in his chair and snuggle him, and that really helps him go back to sleep. So it's not like you can't ever rock your baby, touch your baby. So there are the special occasions where he does need a little extra comfort and love. I do think that having a flexible schedule or routine for your child is so helpful. We had a schedule from pretty early on, and it just helps you mentally because you are so exhausted. You're trying to figure it all out. You're trying to learn how to breastfeed. You're trying to like figure out this new tiny human that you're in charge of now, especially as a new mom. But to realize like, oh, he gets hungry every 2 to 3 hours. Oh, he's gonna sleep every 45 minutes when he first comes home, or he's gonna be tired after an hour and I need to put him to bed. Just learning those things about your child and like realizing that there is this natural schedule or routine that if you help them stick to that, it's gonna make them so much happier and you make your life just so much easier. So I do think that having a schedule and routine is so helpful, and obviously not now because we're not like going out and doing stuff with people, but before, like if we were trying to plan stuff with family or friends, knowing approximately when his naps were going to be, or knowing early on approximately when I was going to need to breastfeed him, helped so much when it came to making plans, to making things go so much easier. Because yes, they can nap when they're out and about, but I always like him to get like a solid nap at home. But to be like, oh no, can we go an hour later so he can finish his nap? It's just going to make your life so much easier and going to make that experience so much more enjoyable because they're not going to be like pissy and unable to go to sleep. It's also very helpful when someone else is watching them, because I can look and see, okay, he last ate at this time, he woke up at this time, and tell whoever's watching him, okay, around this time is when he needs to go down for a nap, and make sure you give him this many ounces at this time, because that's going to make their job so much easier. Even though you feel like certain things are common sense when it comes to taking care of kids and babies, I find it so helpful to just share too much information. I mean, we cloth diapers, so like showing people how to like do the cloth diapers, how to burp him, how he likes to be bounced, because just leaving someone with like a baby that struggles burping and farting and pooping and falling asleep, and they have certain things that help them do each, and just being like, peace out, have fun, figure it out, isn't very nice. I know whenever I've watched kids and stuff, the more information the parents give, the better. They're not going to know when to feed your child. They're not going to know when your child needs to go to sleep. Like, you know that when they're little and fickle and like to be held or bounced in certain ways, sharing those things as well. I think around like 14 months or like a year and a half, I can't quite remember, I have to look back, is when they drop down to 1 nap, but he's going to be doing 2 naps for a while. But I feel like we've got a pretty good schedule and routine going. Sometimes he's difficult with his naps during the day, but knock on wood, that's not even wood, knock on wood, he has been a champion with nighttime sleep since we sleep trained him. He had a little hiccup with his 8-month sleep regression, but that really didn't last that long. That's our scheduled routine with him. I know everyone's different. Every baby is different, how often they like to eat and sleep and that sort of stuff. So you're gonna learn your baby's cues. But I think knowing what's age appropriate as far as like feeding and eating and sleeping is so helpful, and it just makes mothering so much easier. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!